It sounds like church.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the Autopod Decepticast, your bi-weekly podcast, back from a break, delivering an episode-by-episode breakdown of the original G1 series. This is our episode number 215, if I have my
216
right, with all the
You don't.
half episodes and the. Are you
It's
sure?
216. I'm positive.
Well, pretty close.
I hope I'm wrong, and then I'm like, I'm 100% sure, but I'm almost positive.
This is the holiday episode.
Extravaganza.
All kinds of crazy stuff can go down on the very well planned
And scripted
holiday episode. And as a special little treat, you know, we wanted something to not so awkwardly bridge the gap between G1 and Beast Wars. And we're going to do that with a brief overview of the Japanese G1 video media.
Yeah, the
Cartoon.
3, maybe, if you technically say 4 series
Yeah.
of the Japanese G1.
Yeah.
Yeah, buckle up. We're gonna run through it like a bullet train from Tokyo to
Name another city. Any other city.
Nagasaki.
Yeah, we did it.
That's another city.
Yeah, I know the capital and the ones that got bombed by the atomic bomb. Yeah,
This is beautiful. You know, speaking of cultural mishaps like that, please forgive us as we go through this, our Japanese
Oh, the names?
mispronunciations and all of that. We're going to do our best,
okay.
and we're going to focus on the cartoon series, although the way the Japanese stuff works, it all really mingles together with manga and story pages and a bunch of other ancillary supplemental
I've got some
media.
stuff on that later.
As do I. So just know that there's no way we can cover this all. Okay, today we're going to celebrate the Eurocentric winter holiday. To join us in doing this, we've got 2 mics, 2 furious, or at least for now we've got 1 mic who's semi-furious.
He's a little irked.
it's a bit tepid.
I think he stubbed his toe
I've
on
been
the
more
coffee table.
furious.
So welcome to the show, Michael Andrews, and happy holidays.
Hello, thank you. Oh, great to be here. Great to be here. I love Christmas. I love holidays. Bring it on.
We say happy holidays around here because we're trying to bring down Christianity, don't you know?
Oh, well, I like to virtue signal, so I'm going to say Merry Christmas.
Oh, well, we're balanced out for a broad spectrum of different audiences. And later on in the episode, at some point, I think we'll be joined by your, dare I say, better half?
Yes, definitely. Definitely better half.
He's more furious. He'll bring the fury.
Yeah, he's
He's the one that gets fired up.
All right, well, let's get into some of the things we do around here. It's been a while. You know, since we last were on here, we got a shout out.
Really?
We did. This is the Apple Podcast review from David M. Rays, 77.
All right.
They said, I find this podcast comforting.
Really?
I'm middle-aged and like to day drink while I watch Transformers
Okay, well, there you
episodes
go.
on YouTube. So this podcast is the best.
Oh God,
5 stars.
That's all right. Cool.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I love it.
You like to day drink? We're day drinking right now.
Not
Well,
yet.
not yet. That's a lie.
Not
One
yet.
of us. Is that alcohol?
I don't need to talk about it.
All right.
Legally, you can't ask him that.
I know.
Are you a cop? You have to tell me.
It's in the Constitution.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy to be the Tempur-Pedic remedy to what ails you as you coast more quickly than you'd like through the halfway point on this journey called life. Yeah, we're all going to be dead
Speak for yourself. I'm going to live forever.
sooner than later. And we also have a new patron that I would like to shout out.
Please.
But I'll do it anonymously because they.
Yeah, I
are-
don't think they wanted a shout
They,
out.
I know. Well, I'm not going to go into all the details. We just want to thank them.
You're gonna tell it in pig Latin.
You've heard of the, you've heard of the unknown patron.
Yeah.
Well, now we'd like to shout out the anonymous donor.
Okay. Cool.
So you know who you are, and thank you for signing up.
Yay.
We won't dox you with all the personal info.
No, because they want to remain
Anonymous donating.
anonymous donating. We need
That's
to,
right.
Yeah.
So let's shout out all the patrons. We've got Alpha Magnus, Debbie, Jeremy, Skeeter, Mr. Sadler, Mike Seibert, Bono, Michael Trimplet, Justin R., Jonathan Robinus Prime, Classic Daniel, the Sophubiest of Samurai, Chandler. Is Samurai, is that plural on its own?
I think so. Like like moose.
Samurais.
Like Jedi.
You think there is an
No,
S.
I'm not. I've never heard someone say, "Look at all those samurais."
J Soups, Smatty V, Nick the Toy Mad Dad, Ken Bockelman,
Kid.
DFB Greg Murray, Captain Alexis, Corey, James and Julia, Michael Ordway, Tim Dubs, Jason from Cracktastic Plastic, Thomas, Justin B, Triclops, Alex, Simon, New Daniel, Seven the Chronicler, Argonus Prime, the Unknown Patron, Brian Jones, Rick, a.k.a. Autobot 1000, Mark, a.k.a. Zarmat, and now the Anonymous Donor.
Donor.
God. Yeah, it's some good reverb.
I'm going to have to, provided we have more anonymous donors, I'm going to have to find more synonyms for
What's
unknown and
just say,
anonymous.
and the anonymous donors, and all you anonymous donors out there, all you fucking anonymous donors.
Fucking, that changes the tone of everything. Ryan,
Yep.
you got some Christmas cheer you can cram down our throat chimneys?
Okay. I can do. Yep.
Ryan
Ryan,
just
what
brought us the drinks, so let's see what we got
Look at
going on.
these.
Yeah. So this is a buy us a drink cocktail from our friend Captain Alexis, and it's holiday appropriate. And I think we actually have buy us a drink cocktails for the next several episodes to come. Chandler, I see you. I know I'm gonna make the cojito. It's gonna be maybe our New Year's Eve episode. I'm not sure. So we have a few ingredients for this cocktail: both aquavat, advocat. Ooh. It's Dutch. And sparkling lemonade, and you can definitely buy both of those commercially, but I kind of like making the components myself whenever possible because it's a craft, you see. Now, first we need to make advocat. So if you want the down and dirty definition, it's basically a Dutch version of eggnog, but with much thicker, custardy, consistency.
Oh, yeah.
And here's how you make it. 10 fresh egg yolks. Half teaspoon salt, 1 1/3 cup sugar, 2 cups of brandy, 2 teaspoon vanilla extract, and an 1/8 teaspoon cinnamon, or to taste.
How much of avocado you get out of that?
About a liter, I think.
I was thinking like 10 eggs. I was just curious.
Make a double boil. It's mostly the brandy.
Gotcha.
Make a double boiler by bringing 1 inch or 3 centimeters of water to boil in a medium saucepan, and in a larger metal bowl, whisk the eggs with salt, sugar, and cinnamon until the sugar dissolves and the mix is pale and yellow in color and falls in silky ribbons from the whisk. Then you whisk in the brandy and put the metal bowl with the yolk mix on top of the saucepan of boiling water and whisk continuously until the mix coats the back of a spoon, about 8 minutes, or until it's 130 degrees Fahrenheit, 54 degrees Celsius. Remove the bowl from the heat, whisk in the vanilla, pour into a glass container, and refrigerate overnight. It's very booze-heavy like eggnog, so basically it keeps indefinitely.
Nice. And can I just eat the cherry?
I'm not done.
Yeah.
Shit, sorry.
This thing is going to be warm by the time we
Yep.
get to
No, it's all
sip
good.
it.
Nope.
Sparkling lemonade, like I said, you can buy your own, but in my case, I didn't like the options immediately available, so this recipe comes from Durf2440 at food.com. You need 2 cups of cold water, 1.5 cups of lemon juice, fresh squeeze, please. 1 cup of sugar, it's about 12 lemons. 1 cup of sugar, 750 mils, or 3 cups of club soda, or sparkling water, depending on where you live. Combine the cold water, lemon juice, and sugar in a large pitcher and stir until the sugar dissolves. Store in the fridge until time of service, and just before serving, gradually add the soda to the mix. Okay, here's the cocktail.
Jesus Christ.
What's it called again?
It's called a Snowball. I don't think I said that,
Hmm.
which is funny, but it's a real cocktail, but funny coming from Captain Alexis because he's filthy.
Yep.
So
Dirty man.
the Snowball, I altered the amounts he sent a little bit, but I kept the ratios. So the drink is 15 mils or 1/2 ounce of lime juice or lime cordial. He prefers the cordial. Rose's cordial is the preferred choice. 60 mils or 2 ounces of Advocat. 60 mils of sparkling lemonade. Cold glass, no ice, and a nip of brandy as far as you wish, but don't overpower. For the garnish, 1 maraschino cherry placed coquettishly on a cocktail stick.
Oh, you did it.
And then
This
you
is
add
the
the-
most coquettish
Yeah.
application of cherry I've seen.
You add
In my
the lime cordial to the chilled vintage glass, 70s or any mid-century modern glass. See Abigail's Party, which is a play. Also a show or a movie on the BBC.
Did you reference? Did he reference that for a reference on what the glass type is?
Yeah.
Ah.
Pour the Advocat and let settle momentarily, then add the lemonade and stir and agitate until the outside of the glass feels cold. Garnish with a maraschino cherry, and he says Advocat on his own is rank, so save the leftovers for the next Yuletide. That's the drink.
Rank.
I'm sure that was very confusing for everyone.
That's amazing.
So I was trying to keep track. It's 10 eggs and 18 cups of sugar, I think was the recipe. That sounds pretty good.
It's
It
a 1 1/3 cup of sugar.
smells really good.
All right.
I'm really excited. Do we eat the cherry?
No, no. Yeah, whatever. I don't care.
All right, we're cheersing.
Looks beautiful, guys.
I'm excited. It
In
smells
case
great.
there's any mistranslation across cultures, Alexis, in the United States, Snowball is
Oh,
when
that cherry's really good. I'm really talking about
emit
the cherry.
in your partner's mouth and then kiss them afterwards.
What do you-
and they,
oh, come on.
And they
They spit
share,
it back. They spit the cum
share
back
it
into your
with
mouth while
you.
you're kissing.
guys-
Yeah,
I was trying to.
Kevin
Check,
Smith
please.
taught us that.
I don't know if they call it that in the UK.
This is
Maybe
a
just
really
call
good
it a
tasting
custard
drink.
kiss.
I really like this drink. a
I like
lot.
it too. It's not
This
as
sounds
really good.
amazing.
heavy as I thought it would be.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, I was expecting eggnog
No.
consistency.
Well, maybe the commercial
It's like-
Advocat is a lot thicker. I don't know.
It's
Yeah, does it taste like eggnog? Is it like, I mean, how
I
does it
can't
stack up
describe
against
it.
eggnog?
It's not like it's a little different because it's just the yolks.
For me, it's got the consistency of a root beer float. It's like
That's
like
a good way to put
creamy
it.
soda, like it's
Oh.
dissolved in there.
I'm picturing sort of a French toast flavor. Am I close?
Fruity.
No.
It's
No, because
fruitier.
it's very
It's
Ah.
lemon.
it's citrusy.
It's
because
like
of the
creamy
lemon.
lemon,
So
like
really-
a lemon key lemon pie type.
Yeah.
like if someone made you a 7-Up, but did a really good job at it. Like I made this 7-Up type of drink for you and put some ice cream in it, and
love
it's
that.
it's like good stuff.
Well,
Beautiful.
I can tell a lot of love went into this.
Really good, Ryan. You did
Yeah,
really good.
I
Thank
like
you,
it. Thanks,
Alex.
Captain Alexis.
Yeah, that's a delicious drink. God damn.
Yeah, and thank you, Ryan. Oh my gosh, we're getting a call on our Teletran 69 monitor device that
You've upgraded.
that we have here. Perhaps this is our first Christmas visitor that we sometimes get.
Oh, who's
Caller, please go ahead and reveal yourself.
I'm dreaming of a gray Optimus. Oh yes, it is I, the most beautiful purple one-eyed back-mouthed son of a bitch.
Ah,
Oh,
That's
Uh,
already
a
eats his
little- a little
nuggies from the
tipsy
back
today.
of his head, if I
yeah,
remember.
yeah.
hello, Shockwave. How are you?
We haven't talked to you in a year.
I'm wonderful. I've got one thing to tell you.
Okay.
And that is that we have adopted your Yuletide holiday to be more like you in Earth. We now celebrate Optmas.
Oh, I get it.
That is OPTMAS.
Mm.
Since that son of a bitch won't stay dead.
It's true.
He now shows up with a bag of goodies out of his disappearing truck. So, and he's even got a holiday color available on HasbroPulse.com.
Wow,
Use the
you are
code
plugged in.
Shocky Baby. It doesn't get you anything, but use it.
When you say we, are you talking about we of Cybertron? Is that where you're calling from? Because,
Yes.
Because it.
We rebuilt Cybertron, and we call it Zone or something. I don't know what's going on here. I'm drunk most days.
What are you doing right now? Why are you calling
right
us?
now, I'm so in the tradition of handing out gifts I've been going through the archives and transferring all of our videotapes to a digital format. And I was going to send you some at random intervals
Okay.
of your day.
That sounds like right up our
I
alley.
don't know why we'd want
Yes.
that, but he's doing like a Clark Griswold stuck in the attic looking through the old film and
Oh, it's,
and reminiscing type moment. It
It's
sounds
Because
like.
we have
Time of
videotapes here.
Right.
It's in
8
the
millimeter.
episode with Daniel and the birthdays
Yeah.
Oh, God.
and such.
Indeed.
Well, what are you gonna? What's the first one? First.
Wait,
or-
before, how's Shock Mommy doing?
Oh God.
Oh boy.
Chuck Mommy is wonderful.
Yeah?
She has introduced me to what is known as eggnog. It makes me sleep very well.
Well, tell her I said hi, please. I really...
I shall. She got
I like
a third breast implanted.
Third.
It is on the back for dancing.
So I'm trying to think.
OnlyFans.
I'm trying to picture this
They,
because
they
there's-
just saw Total Recall. It's
It's
right
back-
there.
I wish I had
there's
three.
one
I wish
right-
I had three
there's
hands.
one up front, one in the back. Where's the third one?
On the back, he says, for dancing.
I'm so confused. All right, well, sorry I asked, but do tell her I said hi. All right, so we got a tape.
I guess.
get
What are you
something-
gonna? What are you gonna show us?
Roll tape. I have no idea what this is.
Okay.
I believe it is something to do with a Japanese, whatever a Japanese is. An Omni, Japanimation, I think is what they called it back in the day.
Okay.
It is about robots fighting each other, and I'm not in them, so I
Okay.
don't care.
guess I'll click play on this digital file here. All right.
It is the year 9 million BCE. We're doing Earth time for Cybertron, apparently. And Optimus Prime, he is getting ready to follow the treacherous Decepticons into deep space. Spoiler, they get trapped on Earth, but he doesn't know that yet. And this is Prime right here. Okay, so everybody, so I gotta go. Because I'm going to chase Megatron, and you guys are all going to stay here. Some of you are coming with me. Ironhide, Bumblebee, Jazz, you guys, and some of your other people, you come with me. Hey, I could go too. Hot Rod, you stay here. Just stay here. I'll call you later. So Alpha Trion sending me to chase him, I guess. And you will be left here all alone with the female Autobots. I gotta go. Tell my girlfriend bye. Okay, let's blast off. What?
Prime, why do you sound like Victor Caroli?
That's a very different voice. I don't know who that is. This is just my voice.
Victor, why do you sound like a pirate?
Okay, I'm getting a lot of sass from you troops, and I'm gonna close the hatch now.
It's okay.
That was a weird video.
Yeah.
Very, nobody seemed to...
It was like World War II-esque. Black
yeah,
and
like
white.
a general having to go away from the front.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a movie.
Yeah, it reminds me of a movie. I'm not clear which one yet, but
Maybe
All
we'll
right.
find out.
all right, maybe. Hey, a new challenger has entered the
What a
arena.
lovely intro.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey, welcome to the show. We've got Mike Seibert in the
Mike.
house. Now both Mikes, equally furious. Well, one furious perhaps, and the other, just chill.
Caffeinated, I think is what it is.
That's
That
my
is-
secret cap. I'm always furious.
Right.
2 mics. What? 2 furious.
Man, how's it going?
Fine.
Oh, all right. We're
No, it's good. It's good. It's good. I got deliver for the peeps.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
It's like it wouldn't be a Mike Seibert joint if he wasn't aggressively cranky about something.
Uh-oh. What's driving the quankiness today, Mike?
Not
That voice for starters.
yeah. Let's start with that. That's as good a place to start as any.
Well, welcome to
Mike
the
and I
show.
have been doing the rounds this weekend. I was saying earlier, this is our second little reunion here before we gear up for season 2 of Two Mikes Too Furious.
Yeah, reunited and it feels so good. It does.
Now that we have you both on, what's the deal? When are you going to start recording? What are your plans for Two Mics Too Furious?
No plan. Show is canceled.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
You must have just
Page
made
from my
that
book.
decision in the.
Yeah.
stole my dry joke, Mike.
Based,
yeah,
based
we
on
have to
pre-show
discuss that.
legislation, a decision has been made.
All right. Yeah, I think you guys should talk because Michael led us to believe otherwise.
TBD,
Oh,
TBD.
oh no.
Awkward moments on the APDC.
I think we've been telling everybody after the first of the year.
Yeah, correct.
All right. Sounds pretty simple.
Yeah. So that could be January. That could be February.
That
Like,
could be 2025.
That,
Yeah. January.
which would be after the first of the year. Exactly.
True.
But Michael Andrews, I don't know if you talked to our other friends about this, but we did an epic live stream not too long ago for celebrating your birthday that Aaron had the opportunity to join us on as well as some of our other friends. But coming up in the podcast future, I'm eventually going to take the audio from the video and put some of that up as a podcast, just to kind of have something on the podcast feed for folks to enjoy the Furious Mics. But I don't think we have any plans to record anything else between now and then. So.
Right, correct. Yeah, after the new year, we're gonna plan.
You'll
to
figure
start
it out.
Season 2.
All right. So look for the next episode in May of 2024. I'll just put it out there for you.
There will be an episode in May. That much I could guarantee. It's going to be May.
And I
not?
just might correct you. You guys had the opportunity to have me on your live stream, just to set the record straight on that. All right,
Is that not what I said? I think that's what I said.
Don't worry about it. Last episode recap. Gosh, this was so long ago, but Zarek seizes D and RC before the Khans set up a Cybertronic slay spree. Spike strong-arms Cerebros to sell his soul for the scraps of a forsaken city. Scorponaut clashed claws with Fort Max's formidable fists. Humans are the real key to Vector Sigma, as the strength of the sun steam cleans Cybertron and sends Decepticons on a struggle-soaked stopover through the stillness of space.
Who will rule?
So let's get into the Japanese series, just to set up for the listener kind of the outline here of what we're doing. So Caleb will cover Super-God Masterforce. Ryan is going to illuminate the listener on Fight, Super Robot Lifeform Victory. Together, we will discuss Enter the New Supreme Commander Die Atlas, Transformers Zone. And I will kick things off right now with the Headmasters.
All right.
Again, forgive our accents and mispronunciations,
Yes.
because I don't know what I'm doing. Before we get into it, we're introduced to the Headmasters concept in Rebirth. And so just a little backstory on the differences between the U.S. and Japanese series. So roundabout late 1986, Takara gets a memo that Marvel Productions is donezo with the Transformers. So if Takara wants content, they're going to have to get their act together. And they did, and they hooked up with Toei to get going on a new series based around that 1987 toy line. Are you all familiar with a periodical called TV Magazine?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'll familiarize you if you don't know.
Okay.
This is where that comes into play.
Rhetorical.
TV Magazine, first published in November 1971. It was a monthly Japanese publication that featured stills, art, photography, and story content based around children's television, and this included video games, toys, television shows, etc. There was a lot of original story content in that magazine, including manga, and TV Magazine was one of the many, there was many similar sorts of magazines in Japan at the time, but it was the only one that featured Transformers content during this time period. And again, articles, story pages, which were basically just written stories, but maybe they'd have some images associated with it, as well as the manga. And that's where a lot of that Studio Ox artwork, that awesome stuff that we've seen, appeared. Anyway, the magazine, it still exists to this day and still publishes Transformers manga content. In the 80s and early 90s, that material that they published can be on Transformers, can still be purchased today. There's compilations of the Transformers story pages and manga out there. So these manga are meant to be supplemental to the on-screen action of the corresponding television series. So generally, they are considered G1 cartoon canon.
Okay.
I guess that's meant to be understood as off-screen action, perhaps. I don't know. Cartoon universe. So that brings us to Masumi Kaneda. Do you think that's the right pronunciation?
Where is it?
We're going to go with it. Masumi Kaneda. Yep. All right. I looked at Caleb. He's the only person I trust on these matters. He was the primary writer for the manga and story pages, which qualified him to become the head writer and basically the showrunner for the new Japanese series. He partnered with Ban Megami, who was the illustrator behind the manga series, and Ban created all the new character designs for the Japanese cartoons. And a lot of these character designs are quite different and arguably better than what we got in the United States, particularly for the Headmasters. They have different head designs, and they just look better all around. Incidentally, Caleb, you might find this interesting. Ban Megami was a protege of legendary manga creator Leija Matsumoto, author of Space Battleship Yamato.
Cool.
Did you find that interesting?
Mildly interesting.
I like Battleship Yamato, yes.
The animation for the Japanese series was headed by Toei. What a blessing.
So nice. What a relief.
So we generally saw a drastic improvement in the overall quality of the illustrations and the action. As we've discussed, they tossed aside the Rebirth storyline, and so the Headmasters are no longer two souls, an organic being bonded to a robot counterpart. Instead, the little guys are their own thing. Cybertronic robot refugees who fled the planet to seek refuge on the planet Master. And it was there that they leveled up their science game, created their transtector bodies to make it in the cold, hard world.
This shit gets so complicated.
Per a quote from Kaneda, this was purposeful to add additional depth to the concept of transformation, with the young bots growing from civilians into fully fledged warriors. There are some similarities in the early episodes between the Rebirth and Headmaster series, just in that Vector Sigma is a part of the storyline. You have the Ghost of Alpha Trion. Plasma energy is mentioned, but there isn't really much evidence out there that the Japanese series drew much of anything from the Rebirth.
They didn't force anybody to get together who hated each other, like in what was it, Gort?
Yeah.
And Chrome Dome or Highbrow, I can't remember who.
I have to be in this guy?
Yeah.
No, that there is that, but they just hate themselves.
That's true.
It's sad.
Well, and also keep in mind, guys, that what makes the Japanese sequel series, The Headmaster, so interesting is that keep in mind that Japan doesn't get Transformers the movie until 1989, 2 years after all this. So they're still trying to reconcile continuity that they can't quite figure out how to do. That's why like some of the Optimus Prime stuff is so weirdly incongruous. Like he dies, he lives, he dies again, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Way to be the trope Optimus Prime.
And that's interesting because they did have the return of Optimus Prime. So he was dead, but did viewers just not know how he died? And the other thing I can't connect the dots on is since Toei's involved. Well, okay, I'm sorry. ACOM was what's his name's company? What was the main?
Nelson Shin.
Nelson Shin. Thank you. So I was thinking it would be easy to connect the dots on that, but also Toei did do the animation for the movie. So I don't know. Somehow or another, it feels like they could have figured all this out, but
it makes your brain hurt if you think about it for too long.
But you're right, and that does explain, I think, some of the characters that we see throughout the series, like the Wheeljacks and all of that later on. Mm-hmm. But Headmasters itself ran from July 3rd, 1987 to March 28, 1988. It was 35 episodes. It carries over several characters that we see in Season 1 through 3, including Optimus Prime, Hot Rod, Rodimus, Ultra Magnus, Blaster / Twincast. Maybe we'll talk about what that's all about. RC, Wheelie, Metroplex, Blur, Jazz, Goldbug, Daniel, Spike, and Carly are all here. Computron, Superior, Defensor, and our familiar Decepticon friends Galvatron, Soundwave / Soundblaster, Cyclonus, Scourge, Tripticon, and all of their combiners are in the house. It also then introduces a slew of new characters, of course the Autobot version and Decepticon versions of the Headmasters and Target Masters and their partners. So for Target Masters, it is a little bit different, which we'll get into. Trainbots, Autobot and Decepticon clones, Monster Bots, Horrorcons, Duocons, the fan favorites, Six Shot, and fan not favorite, Punch Counterpunch. That's just a personal thing.
Right.
My Autobot counterpart's around here. He's close.
He's nearby.
Get out of
Real
here.
nearby.
We don't like you. Personally, I did watch maybe the first 10 episodes of this 5 years ago or so, and it's just so difficult to watch things with subtitles for me because I like to do other things while I'm watching. I just don't sit down and watch stuff.
Even when you haven't seen it before?
Even when I haven't seen it before.
Even when you have a podcast about it?
Yeah. So I got through a lot of the Headmasters content, and so it was fun to revisit it, but I never saw like the introduction of Punch Counterpunch or even the Target Masters, so I guess I didn't make it that far. But would you guys like to talk about key plot points?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Head on. That's their catchphrase.
God on.
Oh.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
God on. Head on.
The story kicks off in 2011, years after Prime released the energy of the Matrix to halt the hate plague. The Matrix energy levels are near zero, and so the supercomputer / Oracle / Transformer God Vector Sigma starts to get all goofy, and Galvatron plots to take control of the Golden Globe. To help him do this, Galvatron has some new warriors. His Headmaster warriors, Weirdwolf, Skullcruncher, and Mindwipe, while Galvatron is starting shit on Cybertron. A contingent of Decepticons, including Six Shot, head to Earth to harass Ultra Magnus and the Autobots at Autobot City. On Cybertron, Galvatron is basically just trying to take over the planet, and at a certain point, 4 new warriors appear to help stop them, and that's Chrome Dome, Hardhead, Brainstorm, and Highbrow. Some key highlights of the series. The initial goal is for the Autobots to scour the Earth for the Matrix of Leadership to get Vector Sigma back in working order. Throughout that whole adventure, Optimus Prime will die again, and Hot Rod will become Rodimus Prime again. We're introduced to a little later to Scorponok and Fortress Maximus. They don't reveal their true powers until deep into the series. Actually, I think Scorponok is in the background. He's sort of just this shadowy character that's consulting with Galvatron in the background. But he has designs of his own.
Have either of you guys watched any of this Headmasters at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, I find Headmasters kind of be the weakest installment of the Japanese series. It's a little dull for me. I honestly couldn't tell you the plot, so I'm actually really riveted to what it's about, Aaron. Thank you.
I'm going to try and sum it all up here.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, what about you?
Have you watched the Headmasters? Fuck no. God no.
Why did we?
No, I've yeah, worth it. I've had the DVD on my shelf for a half dozen years, and it's as impenetrable as a Ron Friedman book. I just I every now and again I keep wanting to give it another go, and then I get what I need from episode 2, and then I just kind of tap out because it's a slog. Really, my only I guess exposure to the story of the Headmasters comes from listening to Transformers University with my buddy Anthony Bricali. But like he goes through the episodes very briefly and succinctly, so I feel like I've got everything I need from that. But one of the things that I kind of wanted to bring up, and Aaron, I didn't know if you had this in your notes, because you had mentioned one of your struggles, obstacles with trying to get through Headmasters is reading the subtitles and listening in the original Japanese language. Do you have any bits or material regarding the Omni Productions dub?
I do have material on that.
Because
yes, coming up after this,
that puts Headmasters on kind of like a different level in terms of being iconic. I think with regards kind of the Japanese sequel trilogy there, because like and it's interesting for all of us here collectively together. I would say that we're all relatively young in the overall Transformers fandom. Like, you know, in terms of like when we started creating content for Transformers fandom, Omni Dub's memes go all the way back to like the late 90s.
Yeah.
So it's like, so there's a lot of folks in like that old guard fandom, like, you know, my buddy Ant or Hooks or Walkie or, you know, any Brian Kilby, you know, any of those folks.
The Chris McFeelys of the world.
Sure. Yeah. Any of those folks that, you know, go way back, they kind of tread in old Omni Dub's memes. So, and I'm sure we'll kind of talk about a couple of those in this section here. But I was going to say, Aaron, if you had a hard time reading subtitles, go check out some of those Omni Dubs because they are it's a special thing.
From what I understand, watching those is kind of like watching The Room. You just watch it for the shit show of it. It's just
absolutely
spot on.
But yeah, I do have a little bit more on that later on the Omni Dub stuff. And if you have any memes in particular you could think of, once you dig those up, we'll throw them on screen and capture them and for some of our supplemental material, because I did not do any research on the memes, old school memes.
I'll see what I can do.
All right, thank you. All right. So in this universe, Fortress is the name of, not Cerebros is the name of that character. He has a totally different appearance and color scheme about him. And so he's the head of Fortress Maximus. But he's only Fortress Maximus when he's in the head mode. Scorponok, he eventually builds his own Transtector, but he's only Scorponok when he's in just his normal self. But when he's the head of the Scorpion base thing, that's when he's Mega Zarok.
Okay.
A little different and interesting in the translation, since Zarok is what we called the human character in the U.S. version. As depicted in the episodes, Cybertron is in grave danger, parts 1 and 2. Scorponok fucking blows up Cybertron.
Oh.
With Galvatron inside of the Vector Sigma chamber, presumed dead for the time being.
Whoa.
Rodimus's leadership burden gets too hard to bear. He ditches the series eventually to find a new planet for Transformers to live, appoints Fortress Maximus as the new Autobot Supreme Commander, and takes Blur and Cup with him, and he leaves RC behind to look after Wheelie and Daniel.
Wow.
Which she replied, "Fuck me." Scorponok also harnesses plasma energy to destroy Mars.
Why?
Lots of things just blowing up. He wants to blow up Earth. That's kind of like the whole main thing he ultimately wants to do.
So it's like a a proof of concept.
Yeah. Did Galvatron die? No, he returns and reclaims his leadership over the Decepticons and devises several schemes to plunder energy from exotic locales across the galaxy. The ultimate goal, he wants to form a new Unicron-sized body by absorbing the Earth and his not dead, his alive warriors into himself.
Ew.
There's a photo of this. Hang on. I should share it with the team of his.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of memes.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is a.
It's like this is a pretty iconic image from that era.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah, that's his. I don't think the boys can see it, but they know what we're
that
talking
is
about here.
Hideous. What a ridiculous thing.
That is known in the community. I can't remember on the show. I think it is called on the show Grand Galvatron. For some reason.
God.
Oh, you hadn't seen it.
I just looked it up.
For some reason, Galvatron told Six Shot about his plan and basically said, and you're going to be one of these people that get to be the honor of being killed to be a part of me whenever I execute this
I
plan.
hope that's cool.
And so Six Shot did not take kindly to this, so he schemed with Scorponok to get rid of Galvatron. And ultimately, Galvatron was deep sixed to never be seen again, by the Autobot headmasters who buried him underneath an iceberg on Earth. Just a side note, because I don't know that we'll necessarily cover it, but in the story pages or perhaps the manga, Galvatron is sort of resurrected when a supernatural entity known as Dark Nova turns him into Super Megatron. But I don't think that happens in the cartoon series proper.
Don't these all have manga associated
Right,
with
that's
them?
part of the manga.
And so, but I believe those are, like you said before, all that is considered canon in the cartoon universe still.
Right. Correct.
That's a lot.
Even though there are discrepancies between the two in some cases.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Target on. So Target Master partners are introduced as nameless little guys. I don't apparently they're never actually called out by name in the series. So I think they're also from the Planet Master, but they become linked to their counterparts. There's a giant plasma energy explosion at some point, and when everybody's recovered from that, in gun mode, they're just seared on to the hands of the Target Masters.
Oh.
So there's like some robo-surgery to disconnect them from the hands, and now they're Target Masters, and that's how it works. So in that situation, in the situation of the Target Masters, you do have two entities with two different souls. They're not humans that turn into guns. They're just little robots that turn into guns.
Wow.
Yep. They're surgically separated, and they also have a telepathic link to their Target Master partner. So the weapon guys are their own thing. They also speak their own language. I guess it's a lot of bleepity bloops and annoying sound effects.
Why not?
They're swearing? Oh. Censored?
Because Target Master partners can select targets independently, the wielders then use two guns separately.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I kind of like that. It's a real Doc Holliday situation. I got one for each of you.
The magical Autobot weapon of the show is the Master Sword, which is the culmination of science and shit from the Planet Master, and it's Fortress Maximus's main weapon. Fortress had to unsheath it King Arthur style to access its power, which is ultimately what allows for the transformation of the Maximus battleship into robot mode. Soundwave and Blaster, they have their own ultimate battle.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen that clip, haven't you, Mike?
Yeah, bitch.
Do we want to talk about that
Go
at
for
this
it.
point?
Literally
Yeah, why
watching
not?
it right now.
Yeah.
It's literally the only reason I'm here.
So the battle is pretty cool,
and
it is actually brutal. I mean, like we're talking like fists being punched through chests, brutal.
Yeah. Arms getting torn off. Yeah.
Wow.
It fucks, dude. It's so.
I think they both explode at the end. They kind of do like hit the ground, do a bounce, and blow up sort of thing.
Yeah. So basically, what happens, and this is for my viewing pleasure. This is very early on. This is like in like episode 2 or something like that of the Headmasters, which also kind of explains why I never really got any.
You got what you needed.
Further, I got what I needed. I
no
got
edging
in, I
for
got
this
out.
guy.
And I'm like 24 more episodes. No, thank you. But no, I first of all, I'm grateful that you had me on to kind of like close the loop a little bit, because I joined you guys a couple other times. I seem to be on for like the Soundwave V Blaster fights throughout the cartoon. Like I was on for Autobot, where it's kind of like their first confrontation, and the fight itself really isn't anything. It's just kind of like a lot of sonic attacks and trash talk.
Right.
I think Soundwave kind of gets the edge on that, the whole all talk, no shock type of thing. Blaster ultimately,
at least from a quippy comeback standpoint, he definitely got him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he definitely loses the fight. But then they don't necessarily tussle so much in the movie as their tapes do.
Right.
And one of the most iconic moments in the movie, No Way 2 can play. Blaster's got tapes too, that right. Kind of thing. So, but it's more about the tapes than the actual Cassette-men. So you gotta wait until season 3 to get a rematch in the always popular and infamous Carnage in C minor, where
Nobody's joining me on this one.
No.
All right.
No.
Really thinking I could get a thing
I
going there.
appreciate the effort, though.
All right.
No, that's good. No, that's good stuff.
Sure.
In that episode, I even posit, like, given the fisticuffs, I think we kind of dust off the enemies to lovers trope. I'm pretty sure those guys are in love in that episode, because there's getting all coked up on the harmony and all that other stuff. And that ends up being a pretty okay fight. But yeah, like you were saying, Aaron, this one is pretty damn brutal. So basically what happens is,
I think they're on Earth, in the Arctic, maybe. They're somewhere snowy.
It starts off where Soundwave infiltrates the Autobot headquarters, which I think is still the Ark at this point. I don't remember. But basically, like, Soundwave has discovered where the Matrix is and where Optimus Prime is. And so he has that information. He is about to reveal that to the Decepticons. And suddenly Hot Rod and Blaster are in Need for Speed 2 Hot Pursuit. And then from there, they somehow end up in the Arctic. And the battle is joined, basically, like, Hot Rod is shooting at Soundwave, pew, pew, pew. And Blaster's kind of like, I'll take care of this. But, like, the... both in the Omni Dub and in the subtitles, it really feels like, for me, for a fan of both of these characters and their rivalry, it feels to me like this is their version of one shall stand, one shall fall type of thing.
Okay,
because Blaster is kind of like, yeah, it's time to end this, and at one point Soundwave is like, yeah, fucking die.
Right.
So like it's brutal and intense. They punch each other in the chest. Both windows cracked. So seeing like Soundwave in a G1 cartoon with a broken window chest, I think in itself is kind of an iconic image. Imagery. Blaster comes out with like this big haymaker that knocks Soundwave's arm clean off. He's like, oh, stop, I'm unarmed. But they kind of, their fight ends kind of sort of in the way that the Optimus Megatron climactic fight from the movie sort of ends, in that, like, Blaster is kind of down for the count, kind of like takes a knee, and he's like, kind of messed up, but then inexplicably Soundwave's injuries just kind of catch up to him, and he literally just explodes, just randomly explodes. And one of the more, we were talking about, early fandom memes earlier. One of the in the Omni Dub, I also gotta say that, like, Galvatron is watching this whole time, like on closed circuit television or something like that. So he's paid the pay-per-view. He's here to watch the main event. But basically, like, he's watching it, and he's like, come on, Soundwave, you gotta get in this. You gotta finish this guy off. And suddenly he blows up. And Ryan, this might be worth grabbing the audio for this, because, like, in the subtitle version, he exclaims, he's like, "Oh no, Soundwave, no!"
Okay.
That kind of thing. But in the Omni Dub, his reaction is a little more matter of fact, and he's like, "Ah, darn that Soundwave," and this yell that he gives isn't like a prolonged no. It's just, it's like a yarr.
Okay.
Darn that Soundwave. Billy, you okay? Not really. Find the power pack.
Very exaggerated, very silly. But from there, Rodimus rolls up to Blaster, who is, basically mostly dead. in the Omni Dubs, he's like Blaster's named Billy for some reason. I don't know why. In the
Okay.
dubs, he's
There's
like,
a lot of that kind of
he's
stuff.
like, yeah, he's like, hey Billy, are you okay? He's like, not really, and then just like immediately dies.
Okay.
Whereas in the original subtitled version, it's kind of more like, yeah, I'm not really gonna make it, but you need to like go find the Matrix and rescue Optimus Prime, and then he just kind of dies. He just turns white, and so at the end of it, Soundwave is in pieces, and the cassettes, which in a move I think is actually pretty rad, they gather his remains, like his head in various pieces, and it's all the flying cassettes. So it's Rat-Bat and Laserbeak and Buzzsaw. They take him back to headquarters, and in the narration they explain that Galvatron takes some of Soundwave's old parts along with some new parts and reconstructs Soundwave into new Soundwave. And basically the Galvatron is kind of like the Bruce Wayne in this situation, and the cassettes end up being the Lucius Fox of the Dark Knight trilogy with Morgan Freeman there. And it's like, does it come in black? Absolutely, he does. And then suddenly Soundblaster is born.
Did they?
Who is basically just Soundwave in black.
Right.
Okay.
So did they release a new Soundwave toy then?
They did
Yes.
for both
Yeah.
of them. Yeah.
So this is
Correct.
It's all about putting out the new toys.
New toys. So
That black does look good.
It looks really cool. And it's interesting because like for a square minute, I mean, obviously I'm a Soundwave guy, and that's that's my favorite character. That's my dude. But every once in a while, you see something different that kind of turns your head. And for a scorching hot minute, about I don't know, like 5 years ago, I had a Soundblaster phase. It's like I was going through some stuff. I was like, let me fuck around with Soundblaster for a while. It's like, ooh, it's dark and exotic. I could do something different. That kind of thing.
Right.
So back in the day, in the vintage era, they did a Soundblaster toy, and basically what differentiates Soundblaster from Soundwave, aside from his distinctive black color, is he has a purple chest window, and the toy can hold 2 tapes instead of just 1. So it's a little more pronounced.
Okay.
And Soundblaster is kind of presented as maybe a little stockier, a little bulkier than just a regular Soundwave. But basically, like, anytime that there's a new Soundwave figure, not to be confused with New Soundwave, the character from the
Omni.
dubs.
New Coke.
There
Coke.
you go, exactly. There's always going to be a Soundblaster repaint. And so during that phase, they did the Siege version of Soundwave. But for the 35th anniversary line, that Walmart exclusive line, they did a Soundblaster where he's got the bigger chest. And I had mentioned that I had a bit of a Soundblaster phase, and part of it was right about the time that the Netflix War for Cybertron series was cooking, and I have very little nice things to say about that show. But one thing that I like, I think this is in Earthrise, or maybe it's in Siege. It doesn't matter because it's all just kind of the same. But Soundblaster gets to be a character very briefly in there, and he's violently different than what you would expect Soundwave to be. Like, he has kind of like the vocal distortion, but he talks differently. He's basically kind of like a mercenary arms dealer kind of scumbag.
He's a totally separate character as well.
He's a totally separate character.
Soundwave is in the show too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and he's just Soundwave.
Right.
He does a Soundwave thing. They do a vague vocal modulation that's not done very well, but whatever. But like, it's one of the first times where, if not the first time, where Soundblaster is presented as a wholly unique character, kind of similar to in some fiction where Galvatron gets to be a completely different character that's not connected to Megatron at all.
Right.
So it was cool to see that take. And then they just did fuck all with it, and the character is kind of returned back into obscurity. But yeah, I mean, like, 4 or 5 years ago that there was a very brief of a flash of a Soundblaster renaissance, and like, you know, I've got like a couple art commissions and some various toys, and
Mike rode the wave of Soundblaster fury.
I really did. I really did. And it's funny. I look at stuff now and I'm just like, well, I got over that shit real quick. You know, it's kind of like it's more like a summer fling type of thing.
Right.
You know, where I'm just
You
like,
knew
you
what
know
this was.
Exactly.
It's like a distracted boyfriend meme, right? And there's Soundwave and Soundblaster.
Yeah. I do love the look, though, of Soundblaster. I don't own one, and I will at some point. I'll grab one because I think that black and purple scheme just looks so tight together.
It's cool. I mean, it's not the iconic classic, but it is the next best thing.
Yeah. We should mention that Blaster, so he died as well. He didn't explode like Soundwave did, but
We just watched
No,
it,
yeah, he just turned.
just watched it, and Soundwave just stands up and explodes.
Yeah. Blaster just turns gray, and to what your point, Mike, I think he just says, go find the Matrix. But he also is brought back to life by his little bros. They collect his parts, and he gets rebuilt into Twincast, so he gets a cool new name, unless you're talking Omni, in which I think he called New Billy or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't know if I got that.
But
Because I don't think Twincast shows up in that episode that Soundblaster shows up.
no, I think it's a little bit later. And
So I
his
didn't get that far.
his main difference is really that his primary color scheme is blue instead of red, and other than that, there's no personality difference. He's the same old Blaster.
Correct. What do you guys think of that? You know, I spend a lot of time talking about the difference in color palette between Soundwave and Soundblaster. Blaster and Twincast are obviously very, very different as well, but for some reason, like I don't know if it's just because I'm not as much of a Blaster fan, but I don't care. Like I don't care about Twincast. And
I don't
it
like
doesn't
the
really...
color scheme. Really,
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything for me.
Soundwave's such a classic design and character that I'm glad they didn't tamper with it too much. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It was the second Transformer I ever owned, and as far as like the toys go, it looking like something that they are supposed to be, it was like Soundwave is probably my favorite, and probably I would say the best example of something transforming into a robot and then into an item. Optimus Prime's is also really great, but yeah, I think
most even the most casual Transformer fan, I think their iconic bot is Soundwave.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for me trying to like stand out in the fandom, because you know it's like a lot of folks have like, you know, some really cool obscure characters that are their favorites, and for me, being a fan of Soundwave is kind of the same thing as being a fan of Boba Fett. And it's like, oh wow, so you picked the lowest common denominator. You know, you're the fucking a pumpkin spice latte, fucking microbrew IPA of fandoms. It's
I would
like,
also put Batman in there.
Oh sure. Yeah, it's like, oh, you like Batman? That's cool. Wow.
Deep cut.
Yeah, real deep cuts. You sound incredibly interesting.
That sounds like some gatekeeper shit right there. We don't do that here at the APDC.
No, it's fine. It's just saying it's something that like it's the hugest like section.
Yeah. It's but I mean, he's iconic. Yeah. And honestly, looking at the two toys, I don't know if I'm still screen sharing, but the Soundwave toy is so much better than the Blaster toy. It's just articulated. Its design is better. Blaster is just a fucking brick.
It's just a hunk of plastic, basically. Yeah.
It had a cool alt mode, but I don't know.
Which is so funny though too, because like, you know, Aaron's got his screen shared, and we're looking at the toys side by side. That Blaster toy is huge.
Yeah.
So even like, despite the size difference, like that Blaster toy is one of the largest of that size class. Like, you know, he towers over Optimus Prime even, and like all of the Autobot cars. I mean, he he kind of like has the same presence that say like Jetfire does, where it's just like he's just like a ginormous toy compared to the other ones. But yeah, it's like I don't know. I loved the Buster Jones delivery. Like I loved his voice. But for some reason, like it was a character that I just never really gravitated to. And I think we've talked about this several times over the years, but since we're kind of closing loops here, like I think it's kind of surprising to some that Blaster didn't necessarily appeal to me, because he's essentially kind of like a radio DJ. And I don't know if that's why it doesn't appeal to me or whatever. I mean, given my my profession, you would think I would be more of a Blaster guy than a Soundwave guy. But there's just a mystique of cool that you get with Soundwave, and it starts with the voice, but it's also the character design, like Caleb was saying. He's just a cool character. He's got his own army of little dudes, and it's great.
It's a sexier design. Just the angles,
and it's one of the first. It was in the first release. It was probably the most accessible
he was supposed
piece.
to be at one point supposed to be the leader, because his face is the Decepticon symbol.
Yeah, he's just sexier, man. He's just sexier.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's in Headmasters.
Yeah. So and in episode 2 of Headmasters, by the way, but and Soundblaster kind of like continues and does some sound wavy things throughout. But yeah, that's kind of it for my perspective on that. Thank you guys for indulging me the opportunity.
I feel like it's a very iconic fight and scene, and like I've never watched Headmasters, but I've seen that fight.
And for those of us that are familiar with the season 1 through 3 and kind of get this idea of a Blaster Soundwave rivalry, it's interesting to see that really reach its penultimate or ultimate rather state in this. Although I think as Twincast and Soundblaster, they will continue to scuffle throughout Headmasters, but with not as much murderous intent, I guess.
Right. Well, I mean, because they got new toys on the shelves, so
right.
So the rivalry continues, but not nearly as final. And as before I cede my time to the senator from Naboo. One thing I did want to mention very, very briefly. You talked about Six Shot, and I am not the biggest fan of Six Shot, but I've always been in love with that character design, the purple and the white and the teal and stuff like that. It feels like 1988 before 1988, that kind of thing. He's like kind of like the precursor to the more kind of like like the C-Cons and all those other wacky things that would come later. But one of the things that I wanted to shout out is that in the Omni Dubs, he's well, first of all, throughout Headmasters, he's more of a mercenary type of thing, but he's referred to as the ninja consultant.
Right.
God, I want that job.
That is his formal title, and like there's like one of those again, another meme where he's just like sitting cross-legged in a club, like drinking a drink and stuff, just being super chill. But like so he's like ninja consultant. So, and I've always wanted to litigate, what does that mean? Is he a consultant of ninjas, or is he himself a ninja who consults? Right. But either way, I mean, there's really nothing in his character design that says ninja. Like, he's not a sword guy. I mean, he's all guns. I mean, Six Shot is a gun guy more so than a sword guy. But yeah, for him to be a ninja consultant, I always thought was iconic enough. So I want to make sure and shout that out while we were talking about Headmasters.
I do think the G1 Six Shot toy, and this is a good time to talk about Six Shot because I have a plot point about him, but I feel like the toy came with swords though, and throughout the series, he has a lot of sort of ninja code-esque references, and I don't remember if he had swords in the series. It looks like the toy maybe did not come with swords, but I know a lot of toys that have come out third party and otherwise have given him like katana blades and things like that. I think he uses shuriken in the cartoon. But
Michael Andrews would love that.
But he does,
baby.
but he does sort of have a code like that, like sort of like I don't know what you would call it, like an Eastern or a Japanese
Bushido
shogun. Is that what we would call it?
like
Yeah,
a Bushido code.
Yeah. So anyway, so to answer your question, I think he is a consultant that is a ninja.
Gotcha.
Now I've got to double check that Bushido is correct.
Yeah, well,
He moonlights as a consultant. He's a
that's
ninja
right.
first.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Bushido.
speaking of Six Shot and of murder, he murders.
Yeah. Oh
he
man.
murders Ultra Magnus.
Spoilers for Michael Andrews. Oh no.
Ooh.
In
It's
the-
your dude.
In the episode called Ultra Magnus Dies, they really
Oh, wow.
they really didn't leave a lot of cliffhangers.
What's
in
gonna
their
happen this week?
episode titles.
Does Ultra Magnus
Could be
die?
anything.
Later on, Six Shot will also double cross Scorponok because Scorponok's ladder scheme is to destroy the Earth, and he's not cool with that, so he pulls a Blitzwing and just leaves the Decepticons generally.
Okay.
Again, I think this maybe calls back to his code. I can't remember in my research if I dug too deeply into why he didn't like all this planet destroying activity, but he wasn't down with it.
I thought Mars was cool.
Yeah. The action across, and that's really mostly the end. That's mostly the series right there. If you want more, go to TF University, who apparently covers it well and succinctly. The action takes place across many locales, but mostly Planet Master, where Scorponok seeks a power equal to the Master Sword, and Earth, which Scorponok wants to destroy. The series ends with a final showdown between Fortress Maximus and the Headmasters, Autobots, and Decepticons. I failed to mention earlier on that the Headmasters have powers that they don't have in the U.S. version, which is that they can exchange energy among each other, and they can also exchange their transectors freely. Brainstorm can be on Highbrow's body or whatever. I mean, the bodies are lifeless, so it doesn't really matter. They have increased power levels whenever they do a thing called head formation, and that kind of pools their energy and allows them to direct it with a really destructive effect. Well, they do this to Scorponok on Earth, and they pool, and it doesn't really work, and so then they manage to pool the energy of all the Autobots together and send it to Fortress Maximus, who then redirects it to Megazarok, I should be saying, instead of Scorponok, which then destroys Megazarok. At this point, the Autobots leave Earth, all of them, even Wheelie has to go and be separated from Daniel. And the Autobots they're going to go out and I guess try and find another place to live, but they vow to see the humans again one day.
Wow, they just bail?
They're just all out.
They
of here.
bail.
Yeah. Peace.
A few, so that's Headmasters, but a few interesting points about the series. RC, as we know her as a formidable warrior from our season 3 and movie times. In this series, she's basically a passive babysitter for Daniel and Wheelie.
Damn.
Cup, for the period of time that he's on the show, we know him as like a tough, grizzled soldier. He doesn't fight at all in Headmasters. He just claims he's too old.
Oh,
A feeble old man.
he just wants to sit on the porch.
Cyclonus and Scourge, who are Galvatron's capable henchmen, they just become foolhardy lackeys. There's a lot of slapsticky humor whenever they're involved, just bonking.
It
into
does seem
stuff.
like, and I have
Well,
this point later, but it seems like there is this. I think that it's mentioned in like the trope section that you sent us to, of like older characters just could like throughout the Japanese series become like jokes,
buffoons.
Yeah, and because who cares? Because they were not selling those toys.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead,
Except for Sound Blaster.
The American route was to kill off all the characters just in one quick swoop. The Japanese went a different route. They just let it play out and embarrass them over several episodes.
Shame
Kids into not wanting to buy their toys no more. It's like, dude, that guy sucks. I don't want to buy
Why did
that
you buy me
toy.
Cyclonus for Christmas? He's a goofball. I want that mind wipe, Mom, you bitch.
Because it's mind wipe. I mean, that dude rules.
Mind wipe.
My wife. Also of note, Wheelie doesn't rhyme in Headmasters.
Right.
Thank God.
Yeah,
He does have I mean, they did manage to give him a more annoying voice.
Holy
though.
fuck! So they made up for
it
it.
is. It is horrendous. I mean, we should probably pull
Both
some
he
of
and
that.
Daniel are. It's that maybe that's why I couldn't make it through Headmasters, because they're in it a lot and it's insufferable.
Yeah.
It would have been really nice if Wheelie was more. His voice was more like a grizzled Nick Nolte type of thing. Hell, Daniel, why?
We need to bring Gary Busey into it, maybe somehow.
Just
Oh man, friend, I look behind. I don't know.
False evidence appearing
Hey,
real.
over there.
We've touched on this a little bit, but dead characters making a comeback. We see Prowl, Ironhide, and Wheeljack in this series. Season 3 favorites, however, such as Springer, are demoted to extras. There's no lines for Springer.
Okay.
A little fun note about Mindwipe, who has a vampire bat alt mode, but in reality is terrified of bats.
That's like that.
I don't know why you do that.
That's like Broadside being both seasick and afraid of heights.
Right.
Yeah.
Mindwipe.
Or
Mindwipe.
Silverbolt being
Take another bite off that apple.
Yeah.
I love it. I'll allow it. It's like Silverbolt being afraid of heights.
Yeah, that too.
This is some real Bob Budiansky bullshit here.
The series was last made available in the U.S. in 2011 through Shout Factory as part of its Japanese collection, which looks like Mike is going to go grab from the shelf. I have all 3 of them. I need to watch them on someday, maybe. I don't know.
You need to. Like it's homework.
Yeah. There and Mike mentioned this earlier, so let's talk about the Omni Productions. There it is.
Yeah.
Did you only buy Headmasters?
Yes. And I bought it off a dude for like $10 at Sidefest, and I got my $10 worth out of it because all I need is disc number 1, and I get to episode 2, and then I put it back, on the shelf.
And you could just YouTube that fight like we just did.
You're gonna end up selling it. You're gonna sell it at the next con.
That's right.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I just might, because there's nothing here in terms of like, special features or whatever. It
sounds like you have 3 discs of special features. You only have 1 main disc. Rest of the show.
Your special features are 34 episodes.
Somebody at the upcoming con will be interested in it. You might.
They might be worth something. I was looking on Amazon, and the Japanese collection isn't easily available anymore. I want to say that I saw Victory for like $85 or something on a resellers market. So.
Interesting.
You could exchange that for a toy or something, maybe.
Maybe I'll flip that on at a TFCon or something. I don't know. There are 34 episodes of the Headmasters, by the way. Good gravy. Yeah. I didn't even realize that until I looked at Enter the World of the Headmasters! ! First part of the Japanese of the rare Japanese TV trilogy that followed the popular G1 series. 35 episodes on 4 DVDs with English subtitles. First time on DVD! !
And it's all yours. And maybe someone else's in the future.
So those subtitles are pretty whack, eh, Aaron?
Yeah, it's a great transition.
Yeah.
So the subtitles are great, but I mean, the English subtitles are easy to read.
Or they say "damn" a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of dams in the plot?
There's reason to say it. Like, damn it, damn you. They're just cursing
real Jack
each other.
Bauer on 24 situation.
So yeah, the Omni translation. This is a release that was produced by Omni Productions, which is a Hong Kong company. And I think they did the entire Japanese G1 series, if I'm not mistaken. Generally, like, the story intent of the dialogue is pretty clear, but the translations are often just overly literal or grammatically incorrect, or there's a lot of awkward gibberish with little relation to what's going on in the scene. And there was no attempt to replicate either the English or Japanese voice acting. And the Japanese voice actors did work to kind of be synchronous to the American English counterparts, but they didn't care about that in this. For example, Grimlock, he does not have his hulking voice. He just has a normal, everyday speaking voice. Blur talks at a normal speed.
Thank God.
And most famously, as Mike referred to, they were just kind of lax with the names of the characters and just generally with concepts of the show.
Yeah.
So Mindwipe's hypnotism is just referred to as magic. The Matrix is known as a power pack, but Energon cubes are also called power packs, so there's some confusion there.
It glows, it's got power.
Right.
Yeah.
The planet of Char is called Jolo.
Huge improvement.
Jolo!
Blaster is Billy. Metroplex is Philip. Spike is Sparkle. And then maybe my favorite one is... Actually, I'll save this one. Rodimus Prime is called Rodimus Prime, but when they say his name on screen, they say Rodimus Prime.
Yeah. They call him Chief a lot also.
Soundblaster is New Soundwave. But my favorite is... Fortress Maximus's battleship is referred to as Spaceship Bruce. No, what
like
string of Google
names.
Yeah. The verb transform is often translated to enlarge. And
I like this show.
Characters such as Soundwave or Six Shot, who have a robotic mouth plate, they have muffled voices. So, according to the TF Wiki, the actors evidently covered their mouths with their hands during their vocal performance too.
Because they're like, if I was talking with this on, I mean, I'd sound muffled, right? And they're like, yeah, it totally would. Probably the most accurate thing I've ever heard.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
The Omni Productions versions were initially broadcast on Star TV in Singapore, and despite the demand, they've never been available in the United States, perhaps due to concerns over the quality of the product. There are fan groups still working to create proper dubs of the series. The one that I could find that seemed most notable was called Prime Productions, and I can send you guys a link after this, but I've checked it out, and they actually do a really good job on their impressions. I feel like they're redubbing the whole thing, sound effects, the musical score. So look up Prime Productions on YouTube, and you'll find some episodes that they've redubbed.
Are they the ones that did that very serviceable version of the Soundwave Blaster fight? Like I found that one by accident last night while I was doing my research, and I was thinking it was the Omni Dub, but it's whoever is doing the Soundwave voice is actually pretty damn good. Like there's like the right kind of vocoder effect on it, and the dialogue is actually pretty good. The Buster Jones is a little discount for my taste for Blaster. Is like that voice actor is no Ryan Jett, but yeah, no, it was kind of a surprise actually.
It could be, yeah. I haven't dove through their entire catalog yet, but I think there's other ones as well I've seen that are pretty serviceable. So that brings us to the end of Headmasters.
So while we're here at an impasse, let me ask you guys this. So I had some stuff to say about Headmasters. I've never seen the Super-God Masterforce. Do you guys need me for that?
No.
I mean, I feel like it should be like the Michael Andrews show at that.
This I think will be
you.
very Michael Andrews heavy, probably because I don't know that much. I don't.
Yeah, no, I'll just split then.
Thanks for coming around and talking about Blaster and Soundblaster.
It was good. Like I did want to
Twincast
get get that out of you. I'm glad that you were able to join us for talking about that. I appreciate it.
Man.
And just some future stuff. We are considering going to TFCon LA in March. Are you? I think we're all just trying to figure out if we're going to go or not. How are you feeling about the whole thing?
I'm in the strongly considering it category.
Yeah.
It is. I think Frank Welker is the last big signature I need for my poster. Plus, I have no shortage of friends that are going. Like I'm sure our buddy Jason Wiltshire is already busting on us to like do some kind of like extracurricular activity. It'll be before too long before Johnny Utah starts knocking on our door as well.
Right.
But like, I mean, I've Amber the Fangirl is coming over from England.
Plus, he has to unload that Headmasters DVD.
Oh, that's what it is. I've got to unload that Headmasters DVD and pay for my flight and hotel and stuff. Yes. But like, I mean, that's one of those ones that a lot of folks go to. So it is kind of hard to resist the call.
Yeah, that's just like a one like there. That's a pretty short flight for you, right?
That's just a
yeah.
That's just a little pole jump for old
And
Seibert.
and yet costs the same about the same as a flight to Chicago. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's very odd.
Before we let you go, what do you want to plug? What do you want to tell us? And then we can.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, as always, thank you so much for having me on and enduring my nonsense and still loving and supporting me aside from my bullshit. But no, you can. It's 2023 has been an interesting year, and it is a year of counting blessings, and I am blessed by your guys' friendship, and I greatly appreciate y'all being a part of my life. It's important and special, and just something very sappy I wanted to acknowledge during this holiday season here. But yeah, if you want to keep up with my bullshit, you can listen to Mike Seibert Radio pretty much everywhere you listen to Autopod Decepticast. I have a episode up about the phenomenal Godzilla -1. I don't know what else I'm going to have after that. Like, I think I'm sitting on some audio from when I joined Whirl's Extra Life live stream last month. You can contribute to Extra Life through the end of the year, so I was hoping to put some of those. Basically, what I did is to keep them going. I jumped on their stream in the middle of the night. When like those 25-hour live streams kind of hit a dip, and I brought my pod decks, and one of the most fascinating discussions we have is whether cereal is considered soup. And you get a bunch of gamers in the middle of the night talking about that. Very rummy. It was hilarious. So I would like to present some of that as a podcast audio on the Mike Seibert Radio feed. Hope to have that out before the end of the year. I've also got a couple other appearances that would be relevant to APDC fans and Transformers fans. I was recently on with TFG1 Mike, and we talked about the Cybertronic Sprees album Transformers 1986, which is their first album, the cover album of the Transformers movie soundtrack. That was a really fun conversation and very one-sided. It's like he basically like let me off the leash, and he kind of like bookends it, and then I just ran rampant with it because I have so much affection for that album and that band, and I talked about all of those kinds of experience with them. But as kind of like a two-hander, I could kind of hand this over to my buddy Michael Andrews. We talked about it earlier in a piece of audio that might not exist in this episode. So sorry for that, Ryan. But no, my buddy Michael Andrews and I, we were 2 Mikes, 2 Furious, and we joined again with TFG1 Mike to be 3 Mikes, 3 Furious, and we talked about John Woo's Paycheck, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. And that episode,
in fact.
Well, yeah, the episode is going to drop on Christmas Day, the same day that movie came out. Could you imagine a John Woo movie coming out on Christmas Day? It's wild. But it was a really fun conversation about what the three of us, at least, kind of think of kind of a forgotten gem, kind of a hidden treasure type of thing. So that was that was really fun. I think folks would really enjoy checking that out. And then, after the first of the year, it's the triumphant return of 2 Mikes, 2 Furious animated Transformers. We're going to jump into season 2 of Transformers Animated. We've met the characters, the season, the table is set, and now we just get to watch all of this animated mayhem that I have never seen before. So I'm really excited. Like, a lot of folks have a lot of high praise for season 2. There may or may not be an appearance by the APDC gang during season 2. Alpha Magnus is going to come back and talk about the Wreck-Ar episode, voiced by Weird Al. So that's going to be cool. But yeah, man, it is always a pleasure hanging out with you guys. You can follow me on social media at Mike Seibert Radio. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I have a Blue Sky, but I don't use it, and I'm determined to use Twitter until Lex Luthor starts asking for money for it. So So whatever, or freaking a shattered glass Tony Stark. I mean, whatever.
We're gonna ride it out. We're gonna ride the ship down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. But anyway, so anyway, you can find me in all of those other places. And thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, well, we love and appreciate your friendship as well, Mike, and happy holidays.
Yeah, have a good Optmas.
Oh, yeah, that's something.
That's a reference you won't get until later.
OPTMAS. Optmas. Merry.
Or you can get it right now.
Yeah, Merry Optimus.
Oh, I'm getting it. I'm getting it right now. Absolutely.
Great talking to you again, Mikey. Too. Happy holidays, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And merry, happy to everybody, and make good choices.
See you, Mike.
Adios.
Bye.
The episode's going to be half as furious when Mike leaves.
Still trying to make that happen.
Oh, I gotta get
Third time we talked about it.
Oh shit! We're getting another call.
Great.
You're always so scared when the phone rings.
Well, we don't get calls around here.
That's true.
Once a year.
I know.
I've found another. I was mistaken on that one. It was mismarked. Luckily, it was not the one of Shock Mommy and Shock Neighbor together.
Oh right,
that one is scarring me. I had to delete that one twice. That's why it's always proper to label your video cassettes and rewind them appropriately.
You gotta tear off that little tab
so you can't record it.
This one looks to be a reenactment of some Bill Cosby special. I think you've been talking about. I can't read English, but it says something about Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. So I'm going to let you guys see this next video. It is hopefully less erotic in nature.
Great. Let's roll it. It is the year 1986. The Autobots are, on Earth. And there's a bunch of other Autobots show up for no apparent reason. Prime is surprised to see them, and they are very surprised to see what's going on.
Hey guys, I'm here with my buddy Sea Spray. He's got a weird speech impediment.
Wow.
I don't know why you called that out. There's nothing wrong with the way I talk.
Whoa, where did you guys come from? How did you get here? I'm Prime, obviously.
I've always been here under the sea, living amongst the prehistoric humans.
You don't talk anymore. No, it's fine. I'm glad we have subtitles.
Did you know the Earth is flat? It's true. I'm really happy to have joined you, Optimus.
Hey, we're all glad here.
What's going on around here?
I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. That's a great question. So, it's not going great. I gotta tell you, buddy, shit's not going well. We have Dinobots now, so that's a thing, I guess. I gave him simple brains. Shut up, Wheeljack. Back to your corner.
Those bones were planted by Earth scientists.
I hadn't.
Dinobots aren't real.
Well, there's a museum. We went, and Hound and Spike saw some stuff, and
it's all liberal propaganda.
This is not how I thought you'd be, but I guess you have a right to your opinion. I'm starting to think I didn't take the crack team with me to Earth that I thought. We don't seem very proactive, and you have been watching it seems like you've been watching a lot of YouTube videos that the algorithm is feeding you, and that's not research.
What did I tell you about the pyramids? Did you know?
I don't even know what he's saying now.
Wait till they tell you about the pyramids, I think he said.
Oh, okay.
The pyramids can just to a point underneath the sand as well. So,
okay, wait a second. Sorry.
Well, I didn't catch any of that. Maybe. Jazz, can you get this guy out of here? He's really rubbing me the wrong way.
Let's get out of here, you crumbly bumble dump.
Well, I hated that video you just showed us, Shockwave. I hope that everybody got that translation. I hope that read audibly when Seaspray was talking.
Yeah, that had some Alex Jonesy type implications going on there. Combine them all.
It did seem like he was kind of hijacking the whole conversation with that, but I think
how those people are.
I think the idea was that Prime is saying that things aren't going very well, sort of like a second act in a movie that is a musical about the holidays. He's a general,
A general, and things aren't going well.
This is great.
Got it. Very good. Okay, what next? What are we doing?
Super-God Masterforce.
Let's talk about it.
Yes.
So, Super-God Masterforce. That's the assignment that was given to me.
You signed up for it. You volunteered.
I did.
But luckily, you've got Michael Andrews here, who
Michael
loves
Andrews, you are a big
Super-God
fan of Super-God.
Super fan of Super-God.
You can keep me super honest here. So, Headmasters had 30-some-odd episodes, right?
Yeah, 35.
Super-God, it ran from April 12th, 1988, a month after Headmasters ended, to March 7th, 1989, for 42 episodes.
Damn.
So with the completion of the Headmasters series, the Decepticons were forced off of Earth, and the stage was set for the beginning of Super-God Masterforce. Although nominally occurring in the same continuity, there was an effort by the head writer, again, that Mr. Masumi Kaneda, to make Masterforce a mecha story. We all know what mecha is, right? It's where the human gets inside the machine and drives it around. The Japanese love their mecha. But we're introducing an entirely new cast of characters instead of using the previous ones. And so, although the toys are mostly the same in both Japan and the West, barring some different color schemes, the characters they represent are quite different. For example, Power Master Optimus Prime's counterpart that we've mentioned is Jinrai. And he's a human trucker who combines with a transtector, transtector being a non-sentient transformer's body, to become a transformer himself. So he finds that Optimus, and that is what's going to be used for the transtector.
This is honestly Little Billy or Timmy or whatever his name's ultimate fantasy, because he wanted to become a headmaster, but really what you want to do is become a god master. Because then you don't have to deal with the personality.
Right.
You just are the transformer.
Yeah. So you combine to become the transformer. You are the You get inside. You are the transformer, and the same applies to the other Power Masters counterparts, the God Masters. There's a few different things in here. So you've got like God Masters, Power Masters. You've got something now called Pretenders. The Pretender figures are released during that year. They were the same, but in Masterforce, the Autobot Pretenders disguise themselves as regular-sized humans that can wear normal clothing instead of being giant humans wearing armor. So it's almost the opposite, where the Transformer can look like a human.
That's right.
It's like the opposite. So there is some continuity quirks compared to Headmasters, where the Earth technology is being portrayed as contemporary for the time, the early 90s or the late 80s, rather than the futuristic 2010 with the Headmasters.
Is it connected to Headmasters at all?
Loosely. Basically,
very loosely.
Matsumi Kaneda wanted to start fresh in some way, and I'll get into that. Even so, then some characters, even on Super-God, some humans in this series are totally unaware that what Transformers even are, even though they have been public figures for over 2 decades. Also, like Zone and similar series, the show never supplies the viewer with the full backstory. Part of that starting fresh and trying to kind of deal with with canon, but anyway, just being like, I don't know here. It'll all work itself out. Kind of like the skits that we did earlier today. So, all right. So
fix it in post.
So there's 42 episodes in the series, like I said, and important aspects such as what the true villain Devil Z is or who Black Zarek is never explained. Same with Zone. They kind of come up. They fill in the blanks later, like the Transformers fans in the universe does later. But at this time, you don't know where they come from. You don't. There's no backstory.
They're like Cotton Eye Joe.
They're yeah. Where did they come from, and where did they go? Who cares? We're here to party. So even the time frame of the show, was never revealed. With the series taking place an indeterminate amount of time after Headmasters.
Like the story, like the show is like daring you to like it. Like, we're not going to give you any information.
Right.
You figure it out.
But they're trying to they're like, we got this new line, we got these new ideas, these new concepts, we got these new toys to roll out, and I don't know, let's just roll the dice here. So there are new characters. I'm not going to list them out. I mentioned a few. For all of them, just go look it up.
Again, you do it.
Yeah,
that's right.
So
put it back on the listener.
So as far as the main arc of the series, to the extent there is one, the story basically tells the efforts of the heroic Autobot forces as they protect the Earth from the Decepticons. Only this time around, and this is something I kind of focus in on, the human characters play a more important role than in other Transformers series, with the human beings themselves rising up to fight and defend their home, rather than the alien Transformers doing it for them. You can see all of this in the different types of Transformers that I've mentioned, such as the Decepticon Pretenders tend to remain large monsters unless they battle in their robot form, but the Autobot Pretenders actually shrink down to pass for normal human beings.
Do they shrink? Do they mass shift?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then then at some point children are recruited to become headmasters, called Headmaster Juniors, for both Autobots and Transformers. But they're like thinking like, well, we've got kids watching this too, so we should have kids are. That's an on-ramp for the kids to be in the fantasy as well, you know.
That's interesting that they did eventually adopt what they did in the United States and make organic creatures.
Yeah.
Headmasters. Yep. Although, so with the Headmaster Juniors, is it just the personality of the human? Is it still a transtector body, I guess?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's the personality of the kids piloting them.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the voices, everything stays the same when they're in the big body.
But it's all mecha. Then you've got God Masters. God Masters being where the human beings have the ability to merge with their transtectors or the robot bodies, which is it's like kind of a hierarchy. God Masters are kind of at the top here in a way, and actually they end up kind of focusing more on the God Masters as the series goes along. So, after the events of the Headmasters, the Earth has been free of Transformers for several years until the emergence of the Decepticon Pretenders. This group was pursued to Earth during the Stone Age by a group of Autobots led by Metal Hawk, and then when both teams crash landed on the planet. So it seems like Transformers really are only ever really crash landing on Earth rather than landing
purposefully.
But they use their special Pretender powers to adopt new disguises. Metal Hawk and his Autobots took on the forms of human beings and began to live among humanity, guiding the evolution of their culture and society, which sounds awfully familiar to some Marvel stuff that's been going on with the Immortals, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
right?
A little bit.
Go with it.
While the Decepticons became monstrous creatures and tormented early mans as demons. So eventually the Autobot Pretenders defeat the Decepticons and seal them away in the past. But as the series begins, they've been liberated from their prisons by the evil energy being Devil Z to play a role in his schemes. So with the return of the Decepticons, the Autobot Pretenders are forced to drop their disguises and take up arms once again, gaining allies in the best good choice. 3 young human children. Shutago, Cab, and Minerva, who are imbued with the power of the Master Force and bond with the 3 transtectors sent to Earth from the planet Master by Chrome Dome. So the Decepticons recruit their own headmasters in return. Hey, let's find some kids too.
Wait, the Decepticons find kids?
Yeah, they recruit their own headmaster juniors. And
Evil kids?
Evil kids, yes.
Evil kids.
Yeah, and there's a lot of evil kids out. Trust me, Ryan, there's a lot of evil kids out there.
They're all named Tyler.
Yeah.
That's true for the show as well.
Yeah. So as the Battle of the Earth progresses, the true objective of Devil Z's plan come to light, which I don't really explain what that is here, but the arrival of Mega, Giga, Buster, and Hydra heralds the quest of the God Masters, super powerful life forms that are perfect fusion of human and Transformer. And with these 4 warriors on the side of the Decepticons, the Autobots must find God Masters of their own. They succeed and joined by a young trucker named Jinrai, who has a truck that looks exactly like Optimus Prime, and he helps recruit. They soon recruit 3 more Autobot God Masters. So basically, it's like it's a series of one-upsmanship. Oh, we made this. Well, we got
That's
this.
what all
we got
Japanese
this. We got.
I mean,
it's like
that
building,
is that is kind of something I do like a little about Japanese shows. Is it's all just an arms race.
It's an arms race,
but it's also makes it kind of boring because it's super predictable. Like they're just going to find a new way to beat this guy.
Well, at that point in this whole escalation, Devil Z ups his plans by summoning Black Zarek to Earth. Discovering this plan, Grand Maximus races to Earth to inform the Autobots of Black Zarek's approach. So the Autobots then create God Bomber, a drone that serves as an upgrade for Jinrai, enable him to transport into God Jinrai, and fight in space, allowing him to beat Black Zarek back.
I think I have this point later because he does show up in Victory a little bit, but like the toy for that last form is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
How so?
Yeah.
It's just armor on armor on
Yeah,
armor.
it's like so the Autobots suffer a grave loss when the final Godmaster Double Clouder is discovered and sides with the Decepticons, using his ability to adopt 2 robot forms to infiltrate the Autobots and destroy their headquarters. Dude, all you have to do is fly into the top of the volcano to it doesn't fucking matter. Without a base of operations, the Autobots are at a disadvantage when Black Zarek returns and merges.
Just at a Motel
so
6.
then Black Zarek merges with Devil Z to bring about the destruction of mankind. And as characters lose their humanity, change their alliances, and engage in final battles, everything comes down to this big final climactic duel between God Jinrai and Black Zarek atop the Matterhorn.
Oh,
So they fight on top of a big mountain, the Matterhorn, where the Autobot hero must defeat his opponent, or all life on Earth will be forfeit.
Epic.
It's epic. It's just like this building and building and building.
They just bring Zarek back in for
what
no
we got to
reason.
do?
Change his color scheme
Gotta
up.
do it.
Change his head a little bit.
So there is some character development. Michael, I am going to allow for you to interject plenty in here. I do have some interesting observations. I looked through some tropes. Thanks to tvtropes.org. Thanks, Aaron, for sending that our way.
I love that site.
Character development. So TV Trope says that this is the first Transformers show where characters effectively change and grow as people, here it says, but grow as whatever. Like,
sounds like they are people. Many
I'm
of them.
Yeah.
going to say I might disagree with this, citing that Hot Rod, for one example, Hot Rod Rodimus character development as an example. Unless tropes feel that the G1 episodes don't carry development very well, if at all, through the series as a whole, and is thinking in terms of a series-long ongoing plot. So maybe that's what they're thinking of. Anyway, there are other G1 characters that I could cite, but maybe they're just thinking about this as like an overarching theme.
They don't
the
change
series.
very much. Like the G1 US series, the characters don't change very much, and it's arguable that Optimus Prime does not have a personality.
Right, good point.
I mean, Hot Rod changes in the movie.
Yeah,
to become and then that's about it. And then he
But
sometimes regresses back. Every opportunity he gets.
They're not thinking beyond that particular episode typically. But regardless, for Super-God Masterforce, the character development is noticeable. For example, Jinrai, at first he's a young and brash truck driver who doesn't like to be tied down with responsibilities and doesn't want anything to do with the Cybertronian wars, but circumstances force him to become a permanent member of the Autobots. While fighting Black Zarek and Overlord on the moon, he realizes how beautiful Earth is and refuses to let it become a dead world like the moon, which I wouldn't call the moon a dead world necessarily, but I know what they mean here. However, the remaining episodes completely loses focus on Jinrai's characterization in favor of plot and action, upon which Jinrai seems to devolve into the personality of previous Autobots. But there are human Decepticons themselves that actually pick up this slack for trope. There's human Decepticons in this, or that become part of the Decepticons that actually become kind of good guys or question what they're doing. So I can tell you, though, some other examples, like a character called Cancer, who's Decepticon.
Jesus.
It's a Zodiac thing, Ryan.
The Zodiac
not the disease thing.
Pick a different one.
All right. So, sure.
I thought Japan had a totally different Zodiac.
Yeah. So Cancer's central conflict is when he knows that Minerva is being nice to him, and after that his sense of right and wrong plagues him until he realizes the lengths the Decepticons are willing to go to destroy humanity. And he ultimately defects to the Autobots and helps them find the Decepticons' hideout. Additional baddies, Giga and Mega, grow increasingly uneasy with Devil Z's hatred of humanity, which makes perfect sense since Giga and Mega previously expressed great pride in their own humanity. Cancer's betrayal only gives them further doubts about their loyalty to Devil Z. As Overlord, they finally turn against Devil Z when he starts beating Hydra and Buster for their failures. Giga and Mega start out as generic villainous co-leaders of the Decepticon cult, but by the end of the show, they show some aspects of being a noble demon and die regretting that they couldn't settle their rivalry with Jinrai. They do die. Perhaps to emphasize the trope that humans are special, only the humans are subjected to character development, while the Transformers are largely static characters, which is thematically consistent with the idea that machines do not change while humans do.
I don't like that.
Tied in with this, it's interesting to note that the series story arc ends with the Autobots saving Earth from Devil Z's omnicidal plan, marking the end of the Masterforce War, even as the Autobots and Decepticons continue their never-ending war in space. The humans who served as Autobots and Decepticons permanently lost their powers, so the character development underwent by Overlord and the Decepticons vanished since their human halves were purged out, leaving only the robotic part that remained wholly loyal to the Decepticon cause. So kind of what was interesting with Super-God Masterforce is that your writer here is really pushing for putting a human in as kind of as the soul or as the ability to change, and even placing them in the characters. If you extract that, the robot's capacity to evolve is greatly diminished.
Almost like he didn't want to write a Transformers series.
He's really, it's based on what I'm researching, like they're really diminishing any kind of character to development of the robot themselves, and it's kind of playing up the human involvement in the series. What do you think about that, Michael Andrews?
Well, right. Great. So actually that's a good take on it. Super-God Masterforce is a lot more like a traditional anime. It's a little closer in tone to like Ronin Warriors, if you've ever seen that, or even Sailor Moon. Like it's that sort of take on it. And it kind of is its own thing, really, in the world. There's sort of like a emperor type villain that's sort of in the shadows and has sort of henchmen, and the henchmen sort of evolve. But what I think is why I'm such a super fan of this, it's just very, very different from anything you've seen. It really is more like a traditional anime. But it also, it sort of carries this idea that, I think Headmasters kind of dropped the ball on this a little bit, but the Headmasters manga actually picked up on it. In the manga, the character of Six Shot, who has all these different forms, becomes obsessed with like the human form, and he kind of wants that to be like his seventh form. So he sort of sets off at the end of it to find out how that can become possible. So I think this is what's sort of becoming a theme in Super-God Masterforce, because when you catch up with the Masterforce characters, a lot of time has passed and they've sort of evolved. They realize the ultimate transformation are like humans, the capacity for human growth and change, and leading these kind of like short, brief, flash in the pan kind of lives is really appealing to them. So that's why they ultimately become, kind of choose the form they do. The threat of the Destrons or the Decepticons is past. So they sort of settle into these forms and get regular jobs. There's a scientist, there's right. They love it. They're fascinated with our culture. And I just think that's a really cool take on it. Sort of a kind of a beautiful take on it, really. I mean, there's so many things out there, in our media that paint humans as like the worst. And it's kind of cool to see something that, an extraterrestrial has found some fondness for us.
I like it.
Bringing some depth.
Absolutely. No, I thought, it was nice to read on that in the show and just trying to get into the.
People seem to really like this one. They said apparently like they like the characters and like you said, there's. I didn't know it was all human development, but.
Well, and so kind of what you were getting to talking about Jinrai or Optimus Prime in this show. So the premise there is he is their leader, but he's sort of like kind of forgotten who he was. He's kind of been like reborn on Earth, and even the the Autobots don't know where he is. They just think their leader's gone, and that's part of the reason why they've kind of settled down and settled into the society. So one of the big discoveries of that show is finding who was reborn as this Optimus Prime character, who's this god reborn. But what's interesting there is like he doesn't know he gets told he was Jinrai, but he doesn't believe it. Like he doesn't actually get his memories back.
So I didn't realize. So you're saying that Jinrai, it's just not coincidental that he finds a truck that looks like Optimus. There is
his body, right?
Yeah, he thinks he's like thinks he's like a trucker because he doesn't really have any.
They don't allude to that in any of the content I have, but that makes a lot more sense. So there's kind of a reincarnation element here.
Yeah. So really, the growth, the character growth, is him trying to kind of come back to this cause and them trying to convince him that it's worth fighting for. He's sort of like this, a little bit of a James Dean rebel without a cause type of person.
So the big element, big element of destiny and potential, which is a huge thing in Japanese culture. Destiny and potential is.
And a bit of reincarnation too, right? Because he's sort of come back as this human, doesn't really know anything about his past life.
And by he, do we literally mean Optimus Prime? Is this the soul of Optimus Prime that is somehow transplanted into this human? It's
yeah. I mean, the human forms of these characters, the Pretenders, are like they're just kind of like the next evolutionary set. Really, it's just that this one, because of final battle issues, doesn't remember who he is. So, and actually at some point, like the truck comes to life and like chase him down. There's actually the episode where you meet him is like really cool. It's kind of like this horror thing. It's sort of like a Christine type element. There's like lightning and the truck's trying to track him down. It's actually a really cool scene, but yeah, it's really fascinating. And then the part you were talking about where like they sort of get rid of his, I think you said something to the effect of like, they kind of forget about his character development and just, in favor of the action. Actually what happened was like he finally kind of realizes like this is important, and he's sort of like ascended to this new level of understanding where he's just like, okay, I'm not truly. It's almost like he gets his memory back. It's almost like he becomes as close as he's ever going to get to Jinrai.
I see. So they don't drop it, but like that part that part engages, and it's like, okay, he's ascended, and then you're like, okay, well, this character has this character has this certain role for the rest of the for the rest of the show.
And if I remember correctly, it's because he's looking down on the earth at that point, and he sort of has. It is kind of a beautiful moment of you don't know if he's like for sure has his memory back from his old life, but it's enough. It's enough to drive him into action.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I enjoyed reading about the show very much. I may have to watch it one of these days.
Yeah, at least a choice few episodes. Very cool animation, very stylized.
I loved the.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, and of course the music, and I mean they just do a good job with. It looks so slick. All of this stuff looks so slick to me.
I think maybe one of the issues with the Headmasters is they were trying to stick too close to like the US version, and they couldn't quite do their own thing. So I think that sort of like hurt it a little bit. I think we all kind of said it in one way or another. The Headmasters just like weren't that interesting. The characters, they were, written as buffoons or, nothing that exciting plot wise happened. It was just sort of them walking around and quipping if they could.
Yeah. I mean, I find the idea interesting. It's just the execution was like, because the idea initially in the U.S. run was that both the organics and the Cybertronians benefit from this bonding.
Yeah.
Just like that, the characters are not very interesting.
Right, exactly. I mean, I hope I did that plot justice on Super-God Masterforce, but I just think it's definitely the best, in my opinion, of the Japanese trilogy.
I guess what I'm confused about still is did the God Master bodies have any kind of will of their own at any point in time before the humans interacted with them? Or are they just like mecha shells? Like maybe they don't have personalities. Like the humans bond with them, I get it, and the robots and the humans are basically the same. But is there any sort of life essence to those bodies at all, either prior to the human connection or after?
Yeah, well, so there's two things going on in that show. There's the Headmaster Juniors, which are the more traditional, they're just the human personality, and the transdector body is just there to make them taller, basically. And actually, their kind of plot in the whole show is, as these Destrons are attacking cities around the world, they're sort of like the rescue crew. They're all forms of like rescue vehicles for like helping other humans like get out of the burning buildings and stuff like that. So actually, the human element is does actually make a lot of sense. The Transformers themselves are just, they're too big and too massive to do some of these like kind of refugee sort of
more nuanced aid, I guess.
Yeah, correct. But so I guess to answer your question, there was so there's that element of it, and then there's the actual Transformers in the show they're not human at all. They've just sort of taken a form that looks like humans.
Right.
That's like
the pretenders, if you will.
Right.
Okay.
So their alt mode, if you will, is like a human. And when we see them, they're kind of like showing what their robot form looked like before.
Right. But Ginrai, is he only a human, or is the soul of Optimus Prime somehow transplanted in him? Did that transdector that was chasing him around, like, did it have some
where does the soul?
understanding?
Where's the soul of Optimus coming from? Is it coming from within Ginrai? Is it coming from the transdector, the truck, or is it somehow manifesting itself once all of that is working together at the same time?
Yeah, I think the difference with Ginrai is that there's more of like an armor element than the other ones have. So like the truck and the cab are sort of like armor, or like, a suit of armor, where the other characters don't really have that. So the human is, I guess the soul is Optimus Prime.
Okay.
And then the truck is sort of like kind of like extra armor that attacks on.
That's
and it sort of it seems to sort of have some like memory of what happened, and is trying to convince the human that doesn't know.
So there is a personality of the robot component of him.
It sounds like it's vestigial, sort of like...
Okay, that makes sense, because in Victory, the human's gone.
It's sort of... I guess it's sort of, to compare it to something from now, it's sort of like the cape, Doctor Strange's cape. Yeah. Like, it can't talk, but it kind of knows the whole history of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got it.
If that makes any sense.
It does. No, that's good. All right. Well, we are experts.
Well, that's Super-God. So that's Super-God Masterforce. What, Michael? Anything else you want to talk about Super-God before we start segueing into Victory here?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to be getting out of here, guys. Thanks for having me. I guess closing arguments, though, I did want to mention, as much as I don't care for Headmasters, it did have the episode Rebellion on Planet Beast, where we got the Beast Formers, which actually became the toy line Battle Beasts in the U.S., and that's probably my very first like toy line that I loved and collected as a kid. So for that alone, love Beastmasters.
All right.
And though I'm not sticking around to talk about Victory, I do think Victory's
nobody
really
wanted
cool.
to talk about Victory.
No, Victory is really cool. I think definitely second favorite. There's a little bit more plot there. It's a little more cohesive to the original series, I think, because I think Super-God Masterforce is like a complete departure. But I like Victory a lot, and I really like the character of Kill Bison when you talk about him. So think about me when you're breaking down Kill Bison.
I only think about you.
Yeah.
Okay,
right. That's my time. You've been great.
All right. Well, is there anything you want to plug or say, share with us before you two get out of here?
Just gear up for Two Mikes Too Furious Season 2, talking Season 2 of the Transformers animated series, which is like the best season between you and me. So I'm really excited.
Get your ear holes ready.
Yes, prepare your receptors, Perceptor.
Fantastic.
My number one podcast listened to, as for 2023 per Spotify.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
You're
Well,
welcome.
Oh,
I get no money from it. And it
if
means
you can
nothing.
reach one person, it's pretty good.
Great. Yeah. Well, happy holidays. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your input because we did not watch this show. So
What? I couldn't tell. No. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Happy holidays.
thanks for
All
coming
right.
on.
see you later,
Take care.
Michael.
Bye.
Bye.
Ah, yes. Greeting, friends and neighbors, ladies and germs. Thank you for enjoying part 1 of the APDC Holiday Extravaganza featuring the G1 Japanese series. And don't you just know you're also in for more store of that wraparound holiday skit bit that's definitely good and obvious as to what film the boys are referencing. In no way is it a slapdash affair by 3 goobers who, if their brains were gunpowder, wouldn't have enough charge to blow the hats off their heads. Lordy, what a show it's been already. But that's just potatoes, Smitty. Up next comes the gravy. Okay, let's put the Walter Winchell voice to rest. Fun as it is to do. All right, friends, join us next week on Christmas Eve for part 2, where we cover the Victory series and the OAV Transformers Zone episode. And perhaps we'll hear just a bit more from our lonely friend Shockwave as he goes through his VHS library. As always, thank you for listening. If you're so inclined, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars, please. And if you like what you hear and would enjoy supporting us financially, why not go to our Patreon, APODcast at patreon.com. It's not going to hurt you. You don't need your money. Give us your money. There are many levels of support, including the Booty Box, starting at the $5 level. Yes, friends, we're already creating ideas and products for the next box. I just ordered a design product for you folks that I think you're going to love. And if you join at any level, you get access to our Discord channel, where we are definitely the most active socially. But hey, if commitment like that doesn't make you fire on all cylinders, go check out our website store for posters, pin sets, prints, and excellent tchotchkes of all kinds. The gift-giving season is upon us. Autopoddecepticast.com/store. You can also follow us on all the social things at APODcast. As a final fun note, all 3 of us have booked and are going to TFCon LA in March 2024. Come out and see us if that's your bailiwick. We'd love to chat with you, and for you patrons, bring your APDC drink tokens. So, until next week, when we wrap up the Japanese overview review, Pistols at Dawn. Bye, bye, bye.